Hey guys, welcome back to North Country Off Grid. Today we're going to talk about road easements, many different kinds of road easements, and what you're restricted to do, can do, can't do on these road easements. So here where we're at, we're actually on two different road easements. We have a private easement with all of the landowners where the road goes through, all the property. And up at the front of our driveway, we also have a road easement agreement permit. It's a very sticky situation with United States Forest Service. I'm gonna take you guys through all this stuff. Hopefully you guys can learn something about it. There's a lot of caveats to road easements, but we're gonna go over the two that I have, show you the example of the vast difference between the two, the amount of restrictions between the two. And hopefully this helps you guys out with your road easement. All right, guys, so we're out here on my road easement right now. And if you've been following the channel for quite some time, you probably noticed that this road has changed right here. The look of it has changed, the layout. You can tell that it's much flatter and quite a bit wider. Now this road easement is a recorded easement. It was recorded right down the center line. And from that center line, the legal access or the legal easement is 25 feet off of each side. So it's a total of a 50-foot wide easement. This easement runs through all of the landowners' properties. It does not go down a property line. It's actually a horribly installed easement. The guy just kind of dozed in a straight-ish line, and this is what you get out of it. Turn around so you guys can see this side. It's a mess. It's a mess, especially because it just got some work done to it. One of the landowners brought some equipment through on his own and decided to grade it. He ran a grader down here for 3 days and widened this all out, smoothed it all out, well, somewhat. Just did a bunch of work on it. Unfortunately, right now, guys, it is November, I think it's the 2nd. It's early November, which isn't a great time to be doing road work. All of this stuff has been softened up and then has been driven on, and it was raining for a couple of weeks, and so now it's a pretty shitty road. There's, as you can see right there, there's just a pothole, ruts, and then water holding. And that's what happens when you do road work right before it rains. So guys, on this road easement in particular has very little restrictions on it. There's pretty much the description of where it lays. The boundaries, which is that 50-foot, 25 foot off the center mark. And that's about it. Basically, it states that if anybody does any damage to the road, they are responsible for it. But there's no maintenance agreement on this thing, so it's up to all of us to maintain it how we see fit. And so there's a good and a bad to that. If nobody ever maintains it, nobody has to, and that's just the way it is. But at the same time, if somebody wants to bring a grader down here and do all of this work, there's nothing I can do to stop them. They just have to stay within the 50-foot boundary. Now, it's kind of a catch-22 in that he can put all this stuff in here and he can smooth this out, and there's nothing stopping another equipment operator from coming in here or renting a piece of equipment, coming in here and tearing up what he just did. Which wouldn't make any sense to do. But basically what I'm saying is if you're not okay with somebody having free reign through your easement, you want to make sure that you get into an easement that has an agreement that specifies everything that you want to see on your easement. Okay guys, so here's the issue with this kind of just an open easement like we have, where there are no restrictions. The description of the easement says that it's a recorded easement up the middle, and it's 25 feet off this center line. So assuming that this is the center line, he graded over here, 25 feet over here, 25 feet. Now this isn't quite 50 feet wide. I'm just using this as an example. But if he were to grade it and stretch it out here, and then maybe in a couple years come back and he stretches it out a little bit further, and maybe in a couple years he comes back and he stretches it out a little further, continually going off the center line, but just pushing it this way, he would now be responsible for any and all damage to my property beyond that border line. So the issue with this is surveying. There's a survey line right down the middle, but he did not survey the edges when he came through. So as a landowner, you can be liable for the damages you caused to somebody's property, whether you knowingly knew about it or not. you're still going to be responsible for it. So the fact that this road was widened out without any boundary markers on it becomes potentially dangerous for this landowner, you know, because another landowner in here could walk in. Now I think he did fine on my property. I have no complaints to it. He widened it out and that's fine. There are parts of this road, and I'll take you guys down this road and show you here in a bit, but there's parts of this road that he widened out much wider than 50 feet. And if the landowner knew about it or finds out about it, he could take him to court and he could sue him for the damages of what he did to that property. And I'll show you guys, it's actually pretty drastic. If it were my land, I'd have an issue with it because he went well over 50 feet. It might be close to double the amount, and it's just because he wanted to erase basically a little S turn that was in it. He smoothed it all out, which made it just a gigantic, pretty much a landing strip. So if you guys are looking at a property, I know we've been contacted by a few people talking to us about wanting to just know about easements, that sort of thing, what to look out for. We like the fact that there's no restriction on this property, or nobody can tell us what to do with the road. Nobody can force us if someone comes in here and they decide they want to asphalt the road. We don't have to take part in it. We don't want it, so we can't be forced to do it. And that's a great benefit to these road easements. Now, if you're the kind of person that you come out here and do all of the work to maintain it, and then expect your neighbors to chip in for fuel costs or equipment cost, it's not going to happen unless it's specified on that contract. So these are just things that you got to think about, and it's got to be something that you are in favor of. So if you're in favor of a few more restrictions, guidelines, make sure that that is all in your easement. And if it's not in the agreement, guys, if it's not written in there in plain language, it's not going to happen. So out here, to get anything changed, you would have to have absolutely every landowner on the properties or on this road. You'd have to have all the landowners sign off to make an amendment to change anything with it, because it is a recorded easement. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys up the road here in a minute and show you what the rest of this looks like. And basically, the only reason I'm showing you is because you gotta put yourself in a landowner's place, where you come out one day and all of a sudden a guy is on a grader out here and he's doing all of this work on your property, coming through your land and moving things that you didn't ask for, but don't necessarily have any control over because of how open your agreement is. So these are just things that you sort of need to think about, because you don't have to deal with them until you deal with them. And being able to give you guys that forethought now as a little nugget of information, hopefully that'll help you in the process, because it is something where you know, people cherish what they paid for. People cherish what they have, you know, and to see someone go through and maybe clip some trees and knock them over, and just kind of change the landscape of everything that you've been used to for years, it could be something that, you know, you become heated about or you have an issue with. And if the language is there, you're going to be okay, because they're going to be responsible for any damages that they've caused. It's just a headache to have to go and recoup that, because of course it costs, or you know, it's a court system battle. It's ridiculous. It costs money. But unfortunately, that's the way that you have to deal with some people, because what they're going to do is try to walk on you, assuming that you won't take them to court, or hoping that you won't take them to court to recoup those damages. So I'll show you guys an example. I just turned around on this side. So you can see where this road was. This was basically the road from here to here. You can really see where it's mostly beaten down. So what happened was this guy brought his grader through. Now this is my driveway going in. So this is where he came through. So we've been used to the road right here. This is so hard to do backwards. We've been used to the road right here, and we come out, and now all of a sudden it's extended out another 15, 20 feet over this way. Right? So just showing you guys an example of something that could change, you know, could change the layout of your landscape, whether you like it or not. All right, guys, so going back this way, we have another access agreement with the United States Forest Service. Now, the access that we are on now, the agreement that we are on now, is about a half a page. But the Forest Service easement is a different story. The Forest Service easement is a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of little things, a lot of little details, and if you don't read all those little details and adhere to them, you potentially open yourself up. Basically, the way ours is written is that the Forest Service can take it from us if we violate their stipulations. And it's 3 pages worth of stipulations. There's a lot of little things in there, and you have to worry about all of your neighbors breaking those rules as well, not just you. If you adhere to them your entire life, but you have a neighbor come in and he doesn't adhere to them, Forest Service can snatch up that easement and say, you're done, you're not coming through here anymore, you guys didn't obey by the rules. You know, so you got to trust your neighbors to do the right thing. And unfortunately, when you got neighbors breaking the rules or thinking the rules don't apply to them, it poses a danger to you, me, because it's my only access into this place. In a battle with U.S. Forest Service doesn't sound like fun, you know. Unfortunately, we got animals in here, we got a life in here. This is where we live full time. This is where we are full time. So to have that access revoked from us obviously would cause a great deal of hardship. So I'm gonna go up and we're gonna cover that on the next video. I'll talk to you guys about that because it's much more complex, and I'll even pull it out and give you some of the verbiage of the agreement to just kind of show you the little things that Forest Service wants. And it reverts all the way to seed control, weed control coming off of other properties, coming out from other land. You know, if we bring a seed in that is a new weed popping up in the area, they'll pull it because they're saying that we're contaminating the area by bringing in equipment. So things as small as that, that's just a tiny little detail, but I'll give you guys a rundown of that. We're gonna run up the road here real quick and I'll just show you guys basically the way things can change. All right guys, so we're heading out. On both sides right now is our property, and you can see that the road was for the most part pretty well respected. It was just kind of angled on the sides, which was fine. We're getting ready to come into my neighbor's property, and you're gonna see that it got quite a bit wider. Okay, so right here, this road, or this little area, used to do a little S-curve, much smaller than what it is now. And as you can see right here, they went and just cleared this whole entire area. Now this is well exceeding 50 foot wide. So if this neighbor cared about the damage to his property, the guy who brought the grader in would be liable for the damages caused right there. Now throughout the rest of this area, for the most part, it's going to be pretty dang close to the 50 feet wide. The issue with it, guys, is nobody went off surveyed markers. This is just kind of willy-nilly, and the problem with this is you just set yourself up for liability when you come through and do this much work and make this much of a change with equipment. So this entire access, I think in total is something close to about a mile, maybe a little more than a mile and a half, up until we get up the road here. And then you'll see right where kind of the gate was and the no trespassing sign is and all that good stuff. You're gonna see right where the boundary starts with U.S. Forest Service. Okay, so we're leaving one easement and one set of paperwork. And now right here, there's a whole nother easement and a lot more paperwork. This is all Forest Service land. And this land has many, many, many more stipulations. God, where did it all go? Has much more stipulations and guidelines when dealing with U.S. Forest Service. So what we're gonna be doing in the next video, guys, is telling you all about this because I think it's important information to know if you ever deal with the Forest Service easement. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Let us know what you think of the road. If you guys have any easement questions, put them in the comments and we will try to help you out or steer you in the right direction.